welcome to Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Riley Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
Hey, sisters, it's a very exciting special week.
Is it?
Yes. Taylor, you know why.
It's, because it's a week where Mom has all her birthdays?
It's Mom's birthday week.
Yay! Happy birthday, Mother Collective.
That's right.
She did it. She has birthdays. Multiples. Both birthdays.
Just a few.
Just one or two.
Yeah.
Or three.
I think actually Mom mentioned this story in the past on our bonus episode last year, but I don't think we've actually told it on the show proper. Our mother has several birthdays. Three. It's unclear when her real birthday is.
Well, she always thought it was the 20th of February. And then her dad picked her up on her 16th birthday, got her license, and he said, your birth certificate says your birthday isn't until the 21st. And then for some reason, one of her mom's friends said that she was born the same day as her son or something, and he was born on the 19th.
Yeah. So her parents insisted it was the 20th. Her birth certificate says the 21st, and the only witness insists it was the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we live in the age of alternative facts. These things can all be true and in the same universe and all negate each other.
Every day this week we say, it is Mom's birthday. It has always been Mom's birthday.
I had friends over last night, the night of the 19th, and I said, guys, it's technically my mom's birthday at midnight tonight. And I was like, just tell her happy birthday when you see her, because she'll be really happy that everyone knows that this is also one of her birthdays. So literally every time one of my friends saw her, even if it was multiple times this morning, it was, happy birthday, happy birthday. It was like 30 times today she was told happy birthday. So I think we're good.
Yeah, I just start saying it just around the 15th and just keep going until maybe like the 28th, just so you get the whole window in there.
I was all over this. I win because we had Mom over for dinner last night and we got her sushi and we baked her a cake and Charlie decorated it and it was adorable and we got presents. And then I texted her this morning and said, happy second birthday.
Man, you're the best daughter.
That's right. You two lose.
I don't think it's a competition for our mother's birthday, Sydney. You don't have to make everything a competition.
Everything's a competition, and I win it.
Well, I still live with them, so I think I win.
I mean, no, if anything, Riley, because my thing is I am not in the same state as my mother, so it's harder for me to spend time with her on her birthday, but you live in her house. Why didn't you win the prize?
There's no prize to win. It's our mother's birthday. The fact that you all think it's a competition just means you both lose.
No, there's an actual prize. There's a trophy. Have you never received the best daughter trophy?
Okay, can we just get on to the topic we're doing today, guys?
Of course not, Tay.
I guess we do just kind of trade it back and forth. No, that's not true.
I know there's not a trophy. It's not a competition. It's our mom's birthday.
But we do wish you a wonderfully happy birthday, Mom, also known as Mother Collective.
Yeah.
And I thought we should do an episode in her honor, not on birthdays, because what's that? But on
we actually did that episode.
We already did that. Who would do that? Us. Anyway. No. What does Mom love? Well, many things. Me, mainly.
Her birthday?
Me above all. But also, she loves horoscopes.
Yeah. And tarot cards.
And tarot cards.
Zodiac. All around.
All things future predicting.
Yeah.
And that she actually suggested that. She said, for my birthday, you should talk about horoscopes. And I thought, well, I don't know that we could do a whole show on horoscopes. But then when I started thinking about it, in your teenage years, I feel like you use a lot of different... I'm not saying that they're not real. I'm saying questionably scientific modalities to predict the future. Mm-hmm. How about that?
Yeah.
Questionably scientific.
Okay.
Because I don't know. There's many things I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows what's real anymore? Now in the year 2017, I don't know anymore. So, but mom is a big fan, as she has probably mentioned and posted in the Facebook group as well, of the zodiac, and she can tell a lot about you by your horoscope. So this will be in her honor.
Yeah.
about that? We can start with our horoscopes. I am an Aries. That's why I'm in charge of everything. So there you go.
I'm a Virgo.
Yeah. Do you have any comment on what that?
I think that means I'm very logical and very shy and very quiet and very like analytical, which I think is fair.
Tay?
Well, I'm a Capricorn. I think that just means I'm really boring and good at math.
I don't think
Mom calls
that's it.
Capricorns happy cappies.
I know she says that, but then anyone that has actually read what a Capricorn is, it's not a happy sign.
Well, and don't you like money or something?
I do. I like money and like earthly possessions. And I do like money. That part is definitely
I've seen
right.
that.
I like money. Hi, my name's Taylor Small. You know what I like? Money.
I've seen that about Virgos too, though, that they like worldly things, like material goods.
Well, no, I don't know. Because Capricorn's an earth sign, so I always figured that was it. It's like, yeah, I like stuff because the earth is stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Capricorn's an earth sign.
Virgo's an earth sign.
Are you guys both earth? I thought. Okay.
Virgo's an
okay.
earth sign.
I'm a fire sign.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you are.
That's. Mom always likes to tell me that I'm the youngest sign and I'm like a baby
Yeah.
because
There's something like it. Do you work your way through the zodiac or something?
Yeah. I think Virgos are like
reincarnated as-
60-year-olds.
Yeah, you're towards the end. You're supposed to be from a zodiac perspective much more mature than me, Tay. And you're in the middle there, Ryla.
Yeah.
I am the most mature small sister.
Well, but Mom
So
understands
says the
all this.
stars.
Mom understands all this because she is a Pisces
Yes.
who is very
Right.
intuitive and empathetic and wise.
Yes.
These are all the things I know now about the zodiac.
Dad's a Gemini. I don't know what that means.
He's funny.
He's a fun guy.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
He likes that joke.
What I know about when I think about my teenage years, I think when you're searching for things that help you understand who you are, when you first learn about the existence of zodiac signs and you start to learn about yourself, there's good and bad things about every sign. And so there's good things. There's a list of some good things about you and you can read it and go, oh yeah, those are good things. I think it's really nice. I think we like to define ourselves a lot in our teen years. And I think it's a nice starting point. Like, oh, here's a whole list of things about me and that I can tell people about and I can connect to and I can explore and understand. The other thing I really liked about it is Mom had a book about sexual astrology. And it was like, here's all the stuff you're into based on your sign.
And it was really descriptive.
Very.
Like it, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be very descriptive.
I won't be. It would not be appropriate for this podcast, but I like that. I think this is the first time I'm hearing, Sydney, that you also secreted that book away and read it with your friends, because I did. So we were both doing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we did. And I mean, there were things, that's the thing. So it told you like what your turn-ons were based on your sign, what things you weren't into, and then who you would be a good match with. And then like kind of describe that matchup, what it would be like. And so there were so many different opportunities to talk about like sexual interests and and like practices and things, accessories. Anyway, it was very descriptive. I learned so much from that book. Yes, I didn't know. There were things that I would read about and then go, I don't know what that object is. What could we... And this was before Google, Riley. Like, I couldn't Google it. Like, it probably was Google time, but I didn't know how to do that. Anyway,
it was Google time.
It was Google time. Anyway, it was early into Google time. I didn't have a device in my hand that I could be like, I can't even say. I can't say because this podcast is 2G rated for that. Anyway, sexual astrology. Mom still has that book, by the way. I've seen it.
Well, I've never read it.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest.
You're missing out on a rite of passage. Have your friends over for a sleepover and get the giggles on with that silly book.
That silly book.
Now, trust me, you could be very popular among your friends with that book.
Or you could just like look it up on the internet.
Is that available on the internet?
I am sure it is somewhere.
The danger, though, is that, well, that book is pretty intense, but the internet does not have any safety net. So once you are searching for information about sexual astrology on the internet, you could wind up in some very dark places, far more dangerous than printed words on paper.
That's a very good point, and with pictures on the internet.
But still.
Yeah, there were no pictures in this book.
Oh, that's probably good. Your descriptions of it are enough.
They were enough. They were quite enough.
It's funny thinking back. It's a normal teenage thing, I think, to rebel against your parents in some way. But we had pretty chill parents, especially mom being like a cool, like into all this cool stuff like astrology and like, yeah, it was, I think in like some really ridiculous act of rebellion, I took an astronomy class in high school, and I remember doing a whole PowerPoint presentation on why astrology doesn't actually exist. Like,
oh no.
I know, like
How
all this
could
stuff about how
you?
the stars had moved, so they didn't even align properly anymore, but also like the gravitational pull of the planets don't make sense. There's a bigger gravitational pull from a tree that may or may not be outside of your hospital room on the day you're born than from Neptune. Like all this stuff, this PowerPoint is completely like digging at astrology. Think back, like, man, I was a jerk.
I can't believe you did that, Tay.
Yeah.
I know.
You yucked mom's yum.
I know.
How could you?
I performed my PowerPoint at like astronomy night at my high school. I don't think she was there though.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
But it wasn't just, because mom got really into it. And so as a result, we knew a lot more about, like, I remember her doing our nativities. And so she could tell you more about yourself based on the sun and the moon and then where other planets were. And so it like...
there are several different, like, variations of your zodiac sign. Like, your moon sign, I think, is the one that is the most common one, like, you find by just your birthday. But then if you look at, like, another thing, you get, like, your Venus sign and your sun and your rising and something. And those all describe different aspects of your personality, whereas the moon is kind of like the overall. The other ones describe, like, specific parts.
Yeah, I obviously don't know how it all works, but I know mom does, because she used to draw up nativity charts that were very complex that would tell you all those extra things about your personality specific. And then, and that was obviously much more complex than what I was referencing a lot of time, which were, Teen and 17 magazine commonly had horoscopes.
See, I asked mom about horoscopes, and she says she doesn't believe that the day-to-day ones, like today's horoscope or like this week's horoscope, are accurate, but she believes that like the overall personality descriptions and character traits are what zodiacs determine. Like, she doesn't think that just because you're a Virgo means you're gonna have an awful week, and if you're a Capricorn you're gonna have a great week. Like, I think I also think that's kind of a little wild.
Yeah, you have to imagine that if you are basing this on the position of celestial bodies and various gravitational forces and whatnot, that pinpointing day to day what kind of, like, not just how your mood's gonna be or
like
how
what's
you would
going to happen
behave.
to you.
Exactly. Then we're getting into kind of predicting the future, which I don't know how, even if you accept it as a science, I don't know how it informs the future like that,
Although there were a lot of ways I tried to predict the future in like middle school with all those games. You had MASH, where you're going to live in a mansion or an apartment or a shack or a house.
Describe. Now I know what MASH is because we used to do MASH back when I was younger too. Describe MASH for the uninitiated, and not the best television show that's ever existed. MASH, because I could tell you about that. I own 2 different copies of the entire series of MASH, so because one isn't enough.
I think you have 7 names. Is that right, or 5?
Are we still talking about the TV show?
I was talking about the game.
Oh,
you asked me to describe the game.
Sorry, I just really want to talk about the TV show.
Is that like you want to know like the possessions you grab if your house was on fire? Sydney's just got MASH under one arm and MASH under the other.
I'd probably
Don't worry, Justin has the baby.
Probably get my Moonlight and Martini set, but anyway. What? Tell us about MASH the game.
I was
Riley.
trying to ask for
You need a piece of
clarification.
notebook paper and a pen.
Yeah,
Or
and
pencil.
like you write five names, I think, like 5 names of boys and 5 careers,
Or girls.
or boys, or girls. Yeah, it was always in my group of a bunch of like 12-year-old girls. It was always boys, but boys or girls or whatever. 5 careers,
Yes.
and 5 numbers for numbers of kids, right?
Yeah.
And
then,
5 pets.
Yeah, and then there had to be a place where it was like you're going to live in, like you weren't going to have a home, or you're going to live in like a regular house.
That's mansion,
or you're gonna mansion.
apartment, shack, or house. That's what MASH stands for.
Oh.
And then
I don't think I realized that.
Yeah. And then like you do the spiral, and someone draws a spiral and you tell them when to stop, and how many rings you made on the spiral is how many numbers you can't buy. So like you just go down the list of all the things you've written, and like if you spiral at 7, then every 7th one you cross out until you get 1 left in every category.
It's very time consuming.
It is very time consuming.
I like the inclusion of the pet.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
who you might end up with or how many kids you might have. That's something you might want to know about your future. But like, will I have a dog?
I also always remember like having the first 2 written down, like cat, dog, fish,
Iguana,
chameleon, another dog.
And I love how like it's the future is out of our hands. Is all of our destiny is on this sheet of paper, and I'm a teenager. I don't know how to obtain a cat. Like maybe I won't be able to.
I need someone to tell me that I'm going to have a cat and one day it will just happen.
I don't know how do people get things? How do you get home? How do you get jobs?
How do you get a career?
I want spouse. How does one get spouse? What do you do with that piece of paper? Like, let's say that does predict the future. You just carry it around and hand it to people.
I carried mine around in my diary for a while.
Will you be the one to do this? Do you take care of this information? Who do I hand this into?
I also always remember getting really upset when like you'd put down the names of like 5 people that you really liked, but like you really liked like 2 of them or 1 of them, but then their name would get crossed off first, and you're like, this is wrong. I don't want to do this anymore. Like you get stuck with the shack and you're having 10 kids and you get a pet like chameleon. And
why'd you even put chameleon on there?
because you have to come up with 5 animals. What do you do after like cat, dog, and fish? I don't have anything against them. It's just like you could have had a cat.
I mean,
I don't think the good thing is I don't think there's anything binding about it. Like I don't think you have to have that to put a down payment on a house. It's like, wait a second, I need to see your MASH sheet. I need to have written proof that you're entitled to this house. Nope, you got the shack. Sorry.
that's what I'm imagining. Like,
shack.
You just have to carry this through your whole life. And like what if I went to college, I went to med school, I did my residency, and like I apply for my first like position like as a paid physician, and they're like, well, this all looks to be in order, but we seem to be missing your MASH sheet. Did you in fact have physicians circled? Oh, you didn't.
This is Princess.
I'm very sorry. It looks like you're going to have to be a ballerina. I'd recommend you get to work on that because you've never tried to do that.
I remember playing during the computer lab time Barbie MASH, which was like just basically MASH the paper game, except with like perfect Barbies that you could change their hair color from like blonde to brown or red, I think. And then
like a computerized version?
Yeah, like a computerized version, like on the computer. Yes. But
I didn't know you were like, we're playing Barbie MASH. I have my suitcase of Barbies.
No. But you could go on the computer and like type in your name and change your character's like hair color and eye color, and then type in the names of the 5 people and like design their characters, and then pick your pets and make your house, and then it would spin it for you and like produce this little like family photo of you with your spouse and your children and your animal and your house of choice. And I think like if you're like there are only a few professions you could choose, but like if you're a doctor, you had like a white coat on, or like if you're a ballerina, you had a tutu on.
Right, obviously.
Things like that.
I like that the game didn't change at all. There's no update in like how we predict the future. It's just now we do it on a computer.
Now we have visuals.
It's the same thing, just now it's on a computer.
Yeah, that's it.
And Barbie's involved.
I really, really want to find this game at some point and just see. I just want to see, because I guess I don't really have to worry or think about what my future will be, because I guess this is it. I guess I have a future now. I'm in it, right?
You're living it
in the future.
I just want to see how far off I am from my Barbie MASH.
It's probably still online somewhere.
Do you think they ever I wonder if they found a way to monetize that
MASH?
Well, like if you're like Barbie MASH, like was there a way to make money off of that? Because otherwise it's just like a passion project. Like I just always loved doing MASH as a kid, and now I've found a way to share MASH with the masses.
Well, it was like on one of those Barbie websites that had like a bunch of Barbie mini games, and one of them was MASH.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of options. There's like Barbie MASH. There was like you could design like there was a Barbie movie about the 12 dancing princesses, and you could like play a game with the 12 princesses. It's like a lot of Barbie things going on from all of her movies, and for some reason MASH was also one of those options.
Most importantly, predicting the future.
Yes.
One of Barbie's skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing I remember doing when I was younger, not really younger, just like probably middle school age, like 12 or 13, whenever I would have a babysitter come over, because for some reason I was still having a babysitter when I was in like middle school. So, like I still had her come over even though she was like just a high schooler, but she would show me how to make cootie catchers, like the things that you put on your hands and like go back and forth and like pick a color and pick a number. And you open one up, and some of them predicted the future, and then some of them just said like random things, or you could make like truth or dare ones, so you could open up a certain thing and then it would be a truth or a dare. I could never make one right, but she made them for me.
I never knew how to make them either. I remember the ones that predicted the future. But they were all the same. You pick the number first, you do that, and then you pick a color, and then you spell out the name of the color.
The name of the color.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are, I mean, obviously very important ways of telling you what's going to happen in your future.
I just remember getting confused. Like, how many times do I fold it? Which flap do I open? This is so confusing. I just want to know what I'm going to do when I grow up.
See, that's what I always had an irrational fear of those kind of things. Because it's like, but what if it's the wrong thing? Then I have to live with the fact that I'll never get to be happy, because I'll never get to be what I want to be in my life, because this piece of paper says so.
I don't ever remember calling them cootie catchers.
It's a weird term.
Yeah. I don't know why it's called that, but that's what I remember them being called, at least.
I don't have a better name for them, though. If there was a name for them, I don't remember.
I either heard fortune tellers or cootie catchers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think fortune tellers may have been something we said, but I don't ever remember having another name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always feel like there was like a secret, like, middle school kid
who knew how to make them.
Yeah, like a dealer? Source. Like where did that information come from? Who stored it, and why wasn't I party to it? Like nobody ever taught me how to do that, or to make the little paper footballs so you could play football at your desk.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that either.
Those little triangle footballs? Yeah. I don't know how to make those.
Yeah, I always remember like there was the one girl in my class like sat in the back corner and like just had stacks of notebook paper on her desk, and you just go up to her and be like, I want one, and she'd be like, what colors do you want? Just like give her the 4 colors, and she'll be like, I'll have it to you by the end of math. And like you walk out of class and she slides it to you.
Meet me in the last stall of the girls' bathroom.
There's one of those every year in elementary school.
Did she monetize it? Did she make you pay?
Probably. And again, that became an online thing. Like there was always an online version you could go on and like click it, and it would fold it open and close for you.
It'll be 2 Twizzlers and 1 box of Nerds.
I'll give you a cootie catcher.
Do you have any Airheads? One of those will do.
Slip in an extra Airhead, and I'll make all the answers positive, but I won't tell you they're all positive. You'll just think you're having a good day.
Now, I want to talk more about telling the future, but before I do that, hey, Riley.
Let's check the group message.
Let's do that. What do we got this week?
This week, Still Buffering is sponsored in part by HelloFresh, which is a meal kit delivery service dedicated to making cooking fun, easy, and convenient.
Now, we have all been lucky enough to try out HelloFresh, and it was indeed all those things.
It was.
You get these nice little meal kits, easy to follow instructions. It's fun to do with
They come in their own little boxes, come in a little booklet of instructions. Very nice.
Exactly. Everything was very yummy. It was very easy to do in a short period of time. And Riley, I think it's a cool thing for you, like as a teenager, to like learn about cooking.
It was, because I enjoy cooking, but I always have a hard time finding recipes like on Pinterest that are too hard to follow and that will never turn out right. But this was very easy step by step, and I made it for me and Mom and Dad, and we all ate it and we all enjoyed it.
And Tay, you even had some luck. You are living the vegan lifestyle, and you were still able to kind of use the recipes for your meal ends.
Yeah, well, they were all very, very like vegetable and grain focused. Like there might be a cheese component or a dairy component, but it was not really like essential to the meal. And I thought it was cool that it was so much like veggie based like stuff. And the produce that they send you is gorgeous.
Yeah,
I feel like there are people in the world that get really excited about a good avocado, and I'm one of those people.
And they sent you a good avocado, huh?
They almost sent me too good of an avocado. I think it set the bar too high for all avocados. Yeah. Like now every avocado I see at my bodega, I'm like, no, just no.
Well, each week HelloFresh will create delicious new recipes and with step-by-step instructions and send them straight to your door. They take about 30 minutes. Even novices like Riley, who doesn't
Like
cook
me.
much,
Yeah,
can
I made
do
it all by myself.
To seasoned home cooks like Taylor, there's
Yeah.
the gamut. And they're all delivered to your doorstep in a special insulated box for free.
And hey, guess what we have for you?
What do we have?
We have a special promo code.
Well, let's share it.
Well, for $35 off your first week of deliveries, visit HelloFresh.com and enter the promo code STILLBuffering when you subscribe.
So go check it out. That's HelloFresh.com, promo code STILLBuffering.
$35 off.
All right. Now, I don't think we went back and mentioned the most classic method of telling the future,
What was that?
which is, of course, the Magic 8 Ball.
I never
yeah.
had one of those.
I mean, they predate us, too.
Yeah.
I mean, Magic 8 Balls were around even before we were kids,
Yeah.
of course. So I can see it being an outdated mode of fortune-telling technology for you in your land of Barbie MASH.
You're going to laugh at me and y'all are going to think this is ridiculous, but I remember when I first got my very first iPhone, I think I was probably 12 or 13, and one of the apps that all my friends told me I had to get was the 8-Ball app, and you shook your phone, and we all thought it was crazy. You could shake your phone and something would happen on the screen. So you shake your phone and then the 8-Ball shakes and tells you what your answer is. I'm not even kidding.
I mean, I could see being into that because, like, I you know what's actually sad?
As an adult?
No, when I was a teenager.
Oh, okay.
Now.
I was gonna say, do you still rely on your Magic 8-Ball for answers?
Well, sometimes I wish I had something like that, but no, I remember thinking that Magic 8 Balls were super cool and not having one and being envious. And I don't know why I felt like it was out of my, like, the scope of possibilities that I could own one. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know why I didn't just, like,
You know, if you would have told Mom,
buy
like, hey,
it.
can I have a Magic 8-Ball? She'd be like, oh, okay.
That seems like a relatively cheap Christmas present. If I
Yeah.
just said, like, also I want a Magic 8 Ball, I probably could have
Yeah.
obtained one. Uncle Michael had one and I was jealous.
Do you, like, ask him to borrow it?
No.
Like, hey, I have a really important question. Can I just, like, scoop that for a sec?
I always remember, Taylor, do you remember the classic story of Uncle Michael and the Magic 8 Ball?
Scampy Mike is who
Oh, I think maybe.
We were staying at Uncle Mike's house when he had moved down to the beach. He was living down in Florida on the beach, and we were staying there in the summer. And we were all up late, and we were playing Monopoly. And Michael was in law school at the time and had a big paper, I think, due the next day.
Something like that.
And he knew he needed to go work on his paper, but he was having a lot of fun playing Monopoly with us. And he said, hold on, wait, I got it. And he left the room and came back with a Magic 8 Ball and said, am I going to finish my paper before tomorrow? And flipped it over and it said, signs point to yes, we're good. And he kept playing Monopoly.
Did he finish his paper?
I mean,
Signs point to yes. I don't know. He finished law school.
I was going to
So
say he's a
Yeah.
lawyer now,
He's a
so
lawyer now. It worked out.
it
Yeah.
all works out in the end.
signs point to yes.
So that's okay.
Wish I had that.
The other problem with the Magic 8 Ball is that sometimes it would get stuck on the same answer and you really had to shake it. Otherwise, you just, like, don't ask it any questions you don't want to know to because it's just going to give you a no for the next few.
That's what I always did. Is I'd always have a question like, does this boy like me back? And then I'd shake my phone and, like, try to get an answer. My friends would be sitting there with me at a sleepover, and it'd be like, probably not. I'm like, let me try again. And I shake it again. It's like, signs point to no. It's like, let me just one more time. And it was like, definitely not. It's like, okay, I hate this 8 ball. Never mind. This doesn't mean anything.
Well, that's like the pop tab one, you know?
Yeah.
Where you like go back and forth through the alphabet, and the letter that it comes off on is the first letter of the name of the person you'll end up with. I knew about how many times it took and how hard you had to pull to get it to come off on the one I wanted it to, you know?
Exactly.
There was also the apple one where you would take the stem of your apple and like twist it as many times going through the alphabet, and then whatever it snapped off would be the letter of the name of the first or the person you're going to marry. And I always remember, I would always trick my friends because like I knew what letter I wanted, so like I'd twist it off and like I'd feel it break within the first few, but I'd just like leave my hand there like the stem was still on, and then just like pull it off on the letter and be like, oh, look at that, it came up with the letter I wanted.
Yay. I would do that with the pop tabs too. I knew exactly, and they're not that hard to jerk off once you've been kind of like moving them back and forth. Like you can just yank it right off there.
No, but there was that worry of falling in love with someone with the letter A at the start of their name.
Oh, yeah, man, there was no chance.
No, you had to make it last through the whole alphabet and come back
start
around.
over.
That was hard.
Or you had to like prime it ahead of time, like have a can of soda, and you had it all ready to just barely fall, like it's ready to fall off, and then like trick somebody into like, see that can of soda? I think I'm gonna do the pop tab thing.
And it was like, hey, it was on an A. It must be meant to be.
Because you need a witness, or it's not real.
No, it's true.
I used to. My pop tab came off. I remember one on, many did, but one in particular came off on the letter that I wanted it to of the guy that I was crushing on. And I put it on a necklace and wore it. Do you remember this, Taylor?
Yeah, because I did that too, inspired by you.
I wore it until I got my first kiss. I decided it was representative of my first kiss, and I would wear it until that happened. How weird.
And did it?
How weird
was the
was
person that the pop tab represented?
No.
Oh.
But I did take it off my necklace after I'd had my first kiss. How weird was I? Why did I do that?
No, but that wasn't weird. That was a thing that we did, though. Like, I remember girls having lots of those. Like, you'd save your pop tabs that came up on the names you wanted, the good letters, I guess. Yeah, and you'd weave them into jewelry or, like, put them on a necklace. I don't think you were the only one doing that. I think that other people might have.
I will say I would save my MASH papers. Like if I got one I really liked, like, oh man, it landed on this person. I'm going to be a cool job and I'm having the mansion. Like I'd save it and like put it in my diary, like right in the front pocket. Be like, I'm going to save this for when I'm a grown up and reference back to this when my life turns out great.
I kept my pop tab after I took it off my necklace. I put it in a jewelry box and had it for a very embarrassingly long time before I was like, I think I'll throw away. I'm like a married woman. I think I'll throw away this pop tab about my first kiss.
Aww.
I will say this. The letter was J.
Was it?
Maybe the pop tabs were right. That's all I'm saying. There was also the weird, in weird future prediction things. Do you remember the thing where you would put your thumb and is it your middle finger around your wrist?
I think your middle finger because it's your longest finger.
Yeah. And you would put it like around your wrist and like space. And as you move it, like however many times you could move it up your arm and fit it around your wrist was how many kids you were going to have. I'm doing it as if I'm like demonstrating.
Not perfect science.
No, because there was no like how far do you move it each time, like the exact width of your finger.
I remember some friends would like barely move it, be like, oh wow, look at that, I'm gonna have 5 kids, and some kids would be like, oh, I only fit it around once.
And I don't know, again, it's weird because it almost implies that as teenagers we think we don't have control over some things.
Yeah.
Like that there's a magical, like, I mean, you have power to decide things like child rearing, pets.
If you're going to have a chameleon.
If you're going to have a chameleon.
These are within the scope of your, like, but I mean, maybe not when you're a teenager, you feel like there's not. Like, I mean, you can't get a chameleon unless your parents let you, so.
Yeah. I feel like you think when you're a teenager that, like, someday I'm going to have a spouse and I'm going to be living in a perfect house and I'm going to have all of these kids and I'm going to have my favorite pet ever. I'm going to have a chameleon. and like, you think it's going to happen someday, but you don't know how, you don't know when. You just, like, know it's going to happen someday, so you want someone to tell you, like, what it's going to be like.
Yeah, it's true. It is definitely, like, your future is a great unknown, and it does kind of feel like the things that you want you can't manifest them on your own. You know, I mean, like when you're an adult, it's like, I don't know. I think we lose that interest in the need for divination, because it's more like, if the things I want, I'll pursue and I will work towards. And then I'll accept when I do not think they'll ever come into my life as well. But like when you're a kid, it's just the whole entire universe is open in front of you.
That's a good point. It does feel like there's a magical quality to whatever is going to happen to you, because it seems so out of your reach. And I will say this, I think part of why I didn't play those games a lot. Like I was familiar with MASH and the cootie catchers and all those things. And I didn't do them a lot because I at least knew enough that those weren't my, I didn't think at the time those were my dreams. I never, I didn't necessarily think about like marriage and kids and a house. Like I pictured myself like sailing around on a boat alone. I don't know.
I mean,
doing whatever people do on a boat alone. Your
ex-employers at a restaurant here in Huntington think that's what you were doing.
That's true. I pictured that fantasy. I pretended to live it, decided otherwise. But I mean, like those
you
were
happen to be a manager at a certain restaurant in Huntington, West Virginia. Don't worry, she's Skyping in right now from the sea.
from the sea, where I definitely live. It was really just a riverboat too, but that really was like, I think that was part of the problem, is like we talk about this, like I don't want any of these things. I want my home to be the world.
One of those.
That's what I used to think. And so the games I didn't think were as applicable.
Maybe this is a little bit of a downer, but I also feel like when you're a teenager, you experience a lot of emotions because you got all those hormones. You experience a lot of emotions in the course of basically one day as a teenager. But you can get down about relationships because you're like young and like you like people and they don't like you back, so you get down about it. So like you think about like, one day I'm gonna have the perfect life and someone's going to love me and I'm going to be in a relationship and it's going to be great. Like, yeah, you think about like, I know this is bad now, but someday it won't be.
And a lot of it is informed certainly by media. Like if you think about like the movies and TV shows aimed at teenagers, it can have like a magical feel to it that like you're drifting along and all of a sudden you stumble into this amazing relationship, job opportunity, adventure, whatever, fill in the blank, whatever it is that you're desiring, you're hoping for. And it has that kind of quality to it. So, and that's the other thing we kind of really haven't talked about yet, is that because, and I think a lot of this for me, and Taylor and Riley, you probably will say similar things, but I do not think this is unique to us. Because Mom was so into some of the, like astrology and the zodiac and those kinds of things, and we, as a result, were into them too when we were younger, she also kind of led me to be a little more interested in, like, I don't know, like, I tried to do a lot of love spells when I was younger.
Like the one from Practical Magic?
Not that, exactly. Not that Mom sanctioned it or told me I should or in any way, like, led me to believe that this is, obviously this was not Wicca or any actual, practice that I was doing. Like, I don't want to mislead you. I'm not disparaging that, because I wasn't doing anything like that. Right. I was doing weird things that I saw in movies and then things that I just kind of made up. Because it seemed like I may as well do that. I was never going to talk to any of the guys I was into, so I might as well cast spells.
Yeah. I got super into all that. And I mean, I think it was my age group, my circle of friends specifically, we were obsessed with the movie The Craft. Yep. That's like, I remember doing the light as a feather, stiff as a board because of that, but like also like the whatever glamour with the rose petal that they do in that, like I'm doing that with my friends. And I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a kind of at least in my circle of friends and with me personally as a teenager, like to try to harness some sort of power beyond yourself. You want to believe that there's something else that can help you and guide you, that it's not just you.
Exactly. No, I mean, and that's what I would think. I would think like I could look out my window at night and cast love spells and be sending like vibes out into the universe to make things happen with some power that, and I mean, that's like a nice thing to think about, that you have some sort of power that you can't see and that cannot be measured by the traditional teenage measures of success, like how many friends you have and what your grades are and how many sports you play and if you got an award in something, I mean, like all those things where in some arenas I was doing okay, in many arenas I felt that I was failing. It was nice to think like, but inside I have this power and none of you know about it.
Mm-hmm. I remember, in middle school, I went to a private school for my first year of middle school, so there were only like 7 or 8 girls total in my entire grade, and we all read the same series of books. Like, I think they're called the House of Night books. There are a ton of them, but they're about a school for vampires, and all the vampires in this book have like, and they're teen vampires, obviously, but they have like a certain affiliation with either like earth or air, fire or water, and we all designated a character from the book to each of us. And we had a Halloween party once, and we all went outside in one of our friends' yards and like tried to do one of the spells from the book and like put us all in a circle and like lit candles. We're like, this is going to work. It didn't work, but we thought we were going to discover that night that we all were secretly like vampire earthbenders.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
The kind of magical thinking that you can, I don't know, have. And I would love to say as a child, but I think I still have some of it today where I'll have to remind myself, like, hey, you're an adult brain. That's not how the world works. And you know this. But, like, I was absolutely certain that before the age of 14, a cat was going to come tell me I was Sailor Moon. And then when that didn't happen, I was like, all right, well then, but I've got until like 15 to fall into a book a la Fushigi Yugi and be a magical girl that way. It'll happen. Maybe that's a different way. I don't know.
I understand, because it was very disappointing to me when I was in my first year of medical school. It was the first time I picked up a Harry Potter book, and I was like, well, I already know it's too late for me.
Yeah,
I remember being very disappointed that I never got my Hogwarts letter. I still think it's coming. It's in the mail somewhere. I just got lost.
You're going to be a little older than the other students.
I'll catch up.
This is a weird reference, but you remember the movie The Last Unicorn?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw it, Riley. It was probably my all-time favorite movie as a young girl. There's like the old lady that helps him out, like the kind of haggardly older woman. And when she first sees the unicorn, she says, "Why do you come to me now? Like, why not when I was a young maid?" I still feel that kind of like, oh, it'll happen, and that's
No.
But I think that's very true, that all of these things, I mean, especially those things we were talking about, like using spells from movies and TV shows and books and trying to think you were like certain characters or stuff like that. But the other games too, like MASH and the Cootie Catchers, was trying to believe that there was something else that was like influencing how our lives are going to turn out and like how we behaved and like what was going to happen to us. Because so many things happen when you're a teenager, like so many things change and like people change. You just want to believe that something else is like controlling everything that's happening in a good way. Like you want to believe that like this MASH game is going to determine that even though life is awful now, one day I'm going to live in a mansion and have a pet chameleon. It's not all bad.
It's also kind of a lazy impulse, because it's like, I don't really have to do anything. This MASH game said it will. It will work out.
I was trying to go for the more meaningful answer.
But you know, like it's if you actually could like actually get real answers in that form, somebody could come to you, like, you know, the most magical 12-year-old whatever could come to you at that point in your life, be like, no, mine work for real. You'll know 100%. Would you want to do it? Because I definitely wouldn't.
No. No, because that's, especially if it's risky if it's MASH.
Yeah, it is risky if it's MASH. You have like a 1 in 5 chance, really, because you only want one of them, and you're probably not going to get every single one that you want. That's not great.
And then you're stuck with a chameleon you didn't want.
Yeah, or maybe you want a chameleon. Maybe you're stuck with a dog.
I don't know. Well, that would be... I'm not a dog person. I would prefer a cat.
I prefer a cat.
Although, I think in the grand scheme of tragedies, getting stuck with a dog probably isn't the worst thing that could happen to me.
Yeah, like, I'd rather get stuck with a dog than, like, land on, like, the shack option.
Hey, what if you want to live in a shack?
Or, like, maybe you want to
live in a shack on the beach.
But, like,
I would sail my boat to it, the boat that I live on.
The way they depicted the shack in Barbie MASH was, like, a house that was obviously not able to be lived in.
Okay. Well, I didn't play Barbie MASH, so I don't know.
I did.
At the age of 12, I learned I was to be a ballerina that lives in a shack with a chameleon.
It was
so like Rapunzel.
Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Say we were Rapunzel.
Okay.
It is. You know, it's interesting because I talk a lot about the concept of your locus of control It's important to believe that you have an internal locus of control, that like your life is within your hands, and that you can take steps to, if you're in a situation that makes you unhappy, to try to fix it, improve it, do something. You can't do everything, but you can do things to try to make things better. And it's important to try to take control of that. I guess it's the same thing as like captain of your fate, master of your destiny, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But if you have too much of an external locus of control, which I think we do a lot as teenagers, you feel like you're at the whims of the universe. You're just being tossed about in the seas of destiny, and you're hoping you land somewhere that makes you happy. And I think part of the process for me was college. For everybody, it's a different thing. But for me, it was college, was when I realized like, oh, this is up to me. Like I can have things I want. I have to grab a hold and make it happen, and it's going to be really hard, and I might not get everything, but if I work really hard, I could get some things. And
I think you realize that when you're an adult, or like in your late teenage years, and you're actually starting to make decisions for yourself. I think when you're like middle school, like just like first years of being a teenager, like 13, 14, you feel kind of helpless. Like a lot of things are happening you don't have control over. So this is like the one thing that like, I don't have control over this either, but maybe it'll turn out fine. Like I don't have control over anything. I don't have control over how my life's going to turn out. So let's at least see how it's going to turn out, so I can just know ahead of time, like prepare myself.
Well, you know, it's interesting because one form of this sort of divination that we haven't talked about, and we can't not because we're doing this for Mom, is tarot cards.
Yes.
And that's such an interesting kind of, it's in the same family of all this stuff, but it's also so psychological, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think I still like anytime that there's a tarot card reading available, I'm all for them, because I think it's that sort of confronting different possibilities, but there's a lot more to it. That's like there's a lot of symbols that you will see different things in different aspects of your life you need to work on, or people that you're curious about, but it really tells you a lot more about your own brain than anything else, and I like that, you know.
I think you're right. I've watched Mom do readings before, and I attempted to do readings back when I was younger, but I'm not as naturally empathetic and intuitive as Mom is, and so I was never very good at it. But I think Mom really picks up on the things that the person she's doing a reading for is like wanting to ask about, and doesn't necessarily give them answers. I'm not saying she like provides them with magic 8-ball style solutions, but like gets them to talk about it and think about it and open that up. It's almost sort of like a therapy, almost like a form of kind of a guided spiritual therapy kind of thing when I've watched her do it before. And I mean, people come away with it, like you said, Tay, feeling like they have a better kind of understanding of what's going on in their own head and how they feel or think about something. And maybe that helps them figure out what the next step is they need to take, not just what will happen to them, but what they will do next.
Yeah, I think it's almost the point of like fortune tellers when you're not an adult necessarily, but old enough to where you know like MASH isn't real and none of those things actually matter. But like you're going to someone who's going to tell you about like your life, and you're going to someone who thinks they know like what they're talking about, like you're having your cards read. And I think it's more like they never give you specific answers like this exact thing is going to happen to you on this exact day. It's more like it gives you areas of your life that you kind of talk about, so you can think about it for yourself, like you all were saying. Like it's not necessarily telling you like this is exactly what you're like, but it's more like a way of getting you to think about what maybe other people think of you and changing the way you behave based on that, or like what you're not focusing on in your life that maybe you should be focusing on more, like what's important to you, what's not important to you.
Right.
And I think that's why you don't really do that kind of stuff when you're younger, because you can't think that way. But then when you're older, I mean, not necessarily an adult, probably like late teenage years towards that part of your life is really when people look at stuff like that. Is just a way to better understand yourself.
Sure.
Well, and that's true, because I mean there is a person that can manifest your future for you, and that's you, and that's you know, like ultimately like you're the one making the calls in the cootie catcher.
Yeah,
that's right. Weird sentence.
Well, no, you're right, because if you're an adult making a cootie catcher, you're going to fill in all of the
good answers,
the answers on your own. So, you know, nobody's right. There's no kid sitting in the back of math class who's going to make it for you anymore.
Right.
But that's the cool thing I think about tarot, is that it's pulling the truths out of you as opposed to pulling them out of the atmosphere.
Right. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Not my last question is: do you guys remember the thing where you rub the daffodil on, or not the daffodil, the dandelion, the yellow one?
This was all you, Sydney.
This was a thing.
And it told you if you liked butter, I think.
Wait, do you need a divination spell to tell you if you like butter? Can't you just figure that out in yourself?
I don't remember. I always feel like everybody was into the cool stuff, and I never knew what it was.
I felt like that's a thing that you did to people, and then you'd be like, haha, it looks like pee, and that's what you did.
Maybe that's what you did. I think it had something to do with butter. I don't remember. I am sure people are going to
Why do you need a flower to tell you whether or not you like butter? Like, if it tells you don't, are you just going to stop eating it?
No butter for me.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how much stock you put in these signs, Riley.
I think when you're little, you put a lot.
So maybe that's why Mom only served us I can't believe it's not butter for so many years. Did you think about that?
I mean, that's true.
Well, happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mother
Happy
Collective.
birthday,
We
Mom.
all love you.
And we've appreciated all of your tarot readings and your zodiac interpretations for us through the years.
I will say, I am very much interested in the zodiac. I don't know if you all are as much as I am, but I think that's because of Mom. And it's very interesting and fun. So, thanks, Mom.
I wish I could find that sexual astrology book and torture Riley with it. That's what I
I'm
would
glad
say.
you can't. I would burn
It's
it.
somewhere.
Thank you, sisters, for joining me again this week. Thank you, listeners. If you like our show, you can check out a lot of other wonderful shows at MaximumFun.org. It's a wonderful group of podcasts that we are lucky to be, of which we are lucky to be a member. I want my grammar to be correct there.
Definitely.
If you want us to do a Jumbotron, which would be like a personal ad we could do in the middle of our show for you or somebody you love, you can go to MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron. And you can purchase that there, and we will do that for you. You can join our Facebook group, Still Buffering, on Facebook. You can tweet at us at StillBuff. You can email us at stillbuffering@MaximumFun.org. And thank you to the Novellas for our theme song, Baby You Change Your Mind.
This has been Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Riley Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
I am a teenager.
And
I was too.
Hey, good job, guys. Sounded pretty good.
Signs point to yes.
Science point to yes.
Hello, and welcome to Podphone. What type of podcast are you looking for?
You have chosen funny podcasts about bad movies.
Rated R. May we recommend The Flophouse?
3 friends talk about bad movies and make each other and you laugh.
Rated R. The Flophouse is playing at your ears.
If you download it right now or whenever.
Rated R. To purchase tickets to The Flophouse, you don't need to do that, just download it. The Flophouse, rated R. For nudity, I guess.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.